Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another brand new episode. I appreciate all your continued support over these years. Hanging out today with Distant Eyes. Had a lot of fun linking up with these guys. We recorded this episode in Alton, Illinois at the Milton School House. I learned a little bit about it, and I learned that there might be some other guests present in that building. I don't know, but there was definitely some weird stuff happening on the recording, and I left it all in for you to hear. There's some weird feedback happening in a couple of moments. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode. Do have a lot of fun talking to these guys, getting to know a little bit more about them and their brand new record. And you can hear it all about it on today's episode. Be sure to get plugged in with Distant Eyes on your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and find them on Bandcamp. And you can come see them live on September 10th at the Conservatory in Alton, Illinois. Do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler, located right here in St. Louis, Missouri, over in the Maplewood area. On Manchester, you can stop by the shop or shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Roughneck Beard Company is proud to present a brand new Roughneck Light. Finally, a lightweight beard oil that won't weigh you down in the hot summer months. Roughneck Light is formulated to have all the same benefits as our signature line with only half the weight. And it's got a cool, refreshing scent as well. Grab a bottle of Roughneck Light today at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Again, you can find all your beard oils, beard balms, your junk powder, combs, soaps, whatever you might need to take care of that beard and mustache. You can find it at roughneckbeardcompany.com and use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase. And a big thank you again to Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri, for their continued support. You can come by anytime during the week and grab some delicious food and over 25 rotating taps for all your craft beer needs. And great live music happening on the weekend. We got this weekend, Friday, August 26th, Jeff Waltshauser, and then he'll be playing 6 to 8, and then after that, one of my dear friends, Dustin Arbuckle and the Damnations, return to the area, and they play 8 to 10 at Friendship Brewing Company on Friday night. Saturday, August 27th, Denver, Wade, Trent, and on Sunday, August 28th, you get double dose. Denver, Wade, Trent again returns out there Sunday. So come on out this weekend and catch some great live tunes and support local business. Again, Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri. Cold beers and delicious food and good tunes. What more do you need? They got a beautiful patio out there. Come on out and have a good time with them. All right, everybody, that is it for me. If you need anything, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Feel free to email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to help support this show, a great way to do that would be buying a t-shirt. I have a bunch of the Boombox t-shirts available. So if you want me to mail you one of those, or we can link up and I can hand deliver it, I would love to get that to you. Thank you to all those that have already bought shirts and stickers and everything else to help keep this show going. It truly means the world to me. All right, with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Distant Eyes.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
What are we going to say? We're Distant Eyes.
Hi, we're Distant Eyes. Yeah. Welcome to Rock Paper Podcast.
Hi, we're Distant Eyes. And you're listening to
Hi, we're Distant Eyes.
He's already struggling.
Yeah.
Hi, we're Distant Eyes. You want me to write it for you?
No.
I was being serious.
Hi, we're
Distant Eyes, listening to rock.
Yeah, I got it.
Rock
Hi,
paper.
we're Distant Eyes, and you're listening to.
Okay.
Yeah, got
That
it.
one will do.
All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, we're Distant Eyes, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast. Hell yeah.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, hanging out in Alton, Illinois with Distant Eyes. Welcome to the show, guys.
Sorry, man.
Hey. Hi there.
This is very cool. I'm glad to be back over here. It's been a little bit now since I've been in Alton, but this is it's always a fun trip over here and get to meet some people making noise in this town. And there's a lot of really cool things going on in Alton, so that's
it's fun to make these this journey over here and document some of this. But I guess before we get going too far, you guys want to properly introduce yourselves for everybody?
Sure.
That sounds wonderful. My name is Jake Marine. I play bass in Distant Eyes.
I'm Bradley Rutherford. I'm the vocalist.
Brett Cutter, I play the guitar.
I'm Ian Whitmore. I play the drums.
Yeah, man. Let's let's give a shout out. Where were we recording?
We were here at Maeva's Coffee in Alton, Illinois.
Yeah.
In the wonderful Milton School House.
Yeah, this is I've been in this building once before, but I haven't been in the coffee shop, so it's this is very nice. It's a big thanks to them letting us hang out, and I'm getting some kind of feedback. I don't know if it's somebody's phone or something. Something's picking up.
Throw them an airplane there, boys.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the ghost.
Yeah, it could be that too. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes with all these mics, some things start picking up weird things sometimes. Well, cool. All right. I think we're good now. Maybe there's a little bit there. Little like static pops on it. I can hear in my headphones. So, hopefully it's not picking up on the recording. Should be good, I think. All right. Well, so yeah, what Milton School House? You said is the name.
Yep.
That's where, and you guys practice here, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this,
Let us live here.
yeah.
Yep.
There's a little. You guys are telling me that some of this, some things before we got going here. I guess it's supposed to be some spooky things.
I mean, the whole city of Alton's
Yeah.
allegedly pretty spooky, but yeah, this place has had some lore about it for a long time, and we've had our practice space here since November 2021.
Yep.
And so
20.
20. Oh
November
yeah,
20.
yeah. Ian and I have lived here for I guess about a year and a half now. I think it's mostly chill, but
All right.
you never know.
Yeah.
It's like even if it's not haunted, it just feels weird walking around here. Because I haven't experienced, but like I know you guys have been walking through here and just ran into random people who are in the building for no reason.
That's facts.
Or
yeah.
like we've been walking through the building and just like, oh, here's a clearly used mattress in this room we haven't been in. Or the last time we were in this room, there wasn't a used mattress in it. Like that's happened a couple times.
Someone also broke into this shit.
That did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the scary part of the place isn't the spirits, but the people around us. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say it's haunted, but it's haunted by the living.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, obviously these a lot of very old buildings, and I was kind of telling you guys I've done a few different podcasts over there at Limp Brewery down in St. Louis, and that's another place that everybody's got stories about that building too, and it's just like I've never had anything firsthand, but just like walking through there, it is kind of an eerie thing, and it's just like
Oh yeah.
The Limp. Have you ever stayed at the Limp?
no, yeah.
So
Talking about like the mansion.
Yeah.
when you stay there, the staff leave at like 10 p.m. or like midnight or something, and you just have the keys to the building.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like they give you a key, like your room key, I think, or something, works the back door. But like, yeah, then you just have free reign to the whole building, and there's no staff there overnight. So you're just in it, like,
Yeah.
you know, and you can walk around to the stable houses, or you're not supposed to, but you can go down to the basement where the banquet space is and go through all that stuff. Not that I would condone doing such a thing, of course, but and yeah, so there's a vibe there for sure. That's weird.
Vibe here. It's the funny thing about being in Milton and like having them based here and like having the practice space here is that we used to practice underneath in the basement of old Lighthouse Sounds down on Broadway before they moved, and that was right behind Brett and I's old apartment at Front Street. And shout out Front Street.
Shout out.
But yeah, I mean, we had practiced there one time, and we had made a joke like in the early days of the band. It's like, oh, yeah, this is gonna happen, and you know, who knows? We're probably gonna end up in that damn bedroom in Milton, like having practice, and lo and behold, like 3 years later, they live here, and we actually do practice in the exact room that we were talking about. Like, it started out as a joke, but yeah, I spoke that into existence for sure.
I will say it doesn't matter how many times we walk back from the practice space into the apartment. it's just creepy as hell. It's like, it reminds me of the gymnasium from the game The Last of Us. Like, if you ever played that, it's like completely debilitated, just crazy shit everywhere, stuff you could get hurt walking
It's
on.
completely dark at night.
Yes, pitch black.
Yeah.
And then, it's above all the creepy shower rooms and everything that's still under there.
If you want to go, show you. Downstairs it's intense.
Yeah.
I know we're really selling it right now.
Yeah, we'll have to take this podcast mobile and go down there and keep recording. I'm not nothing like quite like that, but I do. I work for the school district out in Wentzville, and one of our buildings, it's called Heritage, and it's been there. It's like the original like school. I don't know exactly when they built it, but it's like we used to be 2 buildings. It used to be like, and then they made it like one after expansion and stuff. Made it like one giant building. But it used to be high school, middle school, and then there was like a little room that was like the elementary, and then there was like just kind of. But now it's all one elementary, and then. But anyway, so they have some obviously modernized stuff, but like there's some things with the electric, like if you turn off the hallway lights, you don't have like the safety lights like every 3rd or 4th light on, so it's like just pitch black down a hall. And one of the times I was working over there, and like I said, everything's just like pitch black, and all you see is the red exit sign at the end of the hall. And I'm like walking along, just my hand along the wall trying to feel where it turns at and stuff, and it's just like, but you can't see your hand in front of your face at all. And it's like so it's pretty wild. It starts messing. I mean, like I said, nothing's ever happened, but it starts messing with your mind. When you're in the dark and starts getting spooky.
It's funny that you say that, because there is like Ian and I wrote a lyric about. There was a time when Ian and I would try to walk from the apartment upstairs to the practice space without a flashlight, and for a good substantial period of time we did do that. And I ended up writing a lyric that was eventually you don't need to see when you're always in the dark. And it's funny that just reminded me of that.
I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but there's a lot going on in there in those headphones. So I was trying to figure out what's. And that just started, so like it got worse. Maybe we better quit talking about them.
I mean, you don't want dirt to come out, Brett.
Yeah, we don't talk about dirt.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Got all about dirt.
You mentioned the early days of the band, and let's kind of take it back to the beginning. I'd like to learn a bit more about the group and
Go off, Ian and Brett.
how it just stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best way to summarize it was everything kind of went south with a project Ian and I were working on, and kind of presented to him, hey, we should keep doing this, and we've got a lot of things that we were proud of that we wanted to see through, and just so happened to kind of coincide with Lighthouse Sounds opening up, and Alex over there has been a good buddy of ours of mine for 15 years or something now,
Okay.
a really long time, and they were obviously new business, and so we kind of worked it out where Ian and I could rent the basement there, and it helped them and helped us, and we were just kind of sitting down and like trying to figure out who we wanted to bring into the fold with us. And oddly enough, in some really bizarre way, Ian knew Jacob from working with him. What was the restaurant? The Keemel's or something?
We used to work at Keemel's
St.
restaurant
Louis joint.
back when
and,
it was downtown. Yeah.
So and Jacob, oddly enough, I met from. He had replied to a band that I was in. This is.
It was 2009.
It was a really long time. He replied to a Craigslist ad, and then we just been friends ever since.
Where all the cool people hang out. 2009 at least.
We didn't know any. I mean, I was like, I don't know how old I was at the time, 2009, but doing math, I was probably going to say 21 perhaps.
No, you're 22.
22, something like that. But Jacob just has remained a friend, even though that band fizzled out. And Bradley, I suggested bringing in just because I had been a big fan of what he was doing back in the day. And he came over and jammed, and it was just kind of like, yeah, this is the guy we want to have. And just kind of just instantly, we were almost more concerned with like the person kind of just being the right fit for us versus, is this the best, quote unquote, which I think he was the best pick for the band for all the reasons. But, we were really kind of first and foremost concerned with having people around us that we wanted to be around and wanted to be around us, and just wanted to keep a really chill vibe with everybody and keep it friendly and fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like at the time, but when I think back on it now, like, because one of the things we always used to say, or I guess we still say, is that like, because we had played together, the three of us, and like we had a few tunes cooking around, and we were trying to find somebody. And the thing that we always would joke about is like, oh yeah, there was never really a conversation about Brad being the singer after you came to play. It was just like he came one night and then that was it. It was just like, okay, when's the next time we're getting together? Oh, next week, whatever. But I also, thinking about it now, that was the exact same situation with me playing with you guys the first night. Like I showed up to Lighthouse at the old building, and we played in the live room for whatever reason. And then it was like, okay, cool, when's the next time we're hanging out? There was no like, I don't know, we got a couple guys we're kicking around. Same thing with Brad. It was just like, oh yeah, this is our singer now. We found him. Like, it took us a while, but like, and so like, that instantaneous, just like, because like anybody can sing, I guess, but like it was I think for us, a lot of it was just like in between songs, like hanging out on the back porch and just like shooting the breeze. Like that felt so natural. Like part of it was, of course, like we've all sort of tangentially known each other one way or another, but like it just always felt like we had been friends the first time we hung out. And like
I met Brett at his old apartment in Alton, probably 2010. I was in a band called Go DJ Go at the time. I just had back surgery, and I was with my friends that knew him that I met in college. So they brought me up here and knocked on Brett's door at his apartment for this party. There's probably fucking 200 people there. And the old apartment over there, it burned down, but
it was next door to Jacoby's Art Center.
They had Brett's apartment, and then you would open his door and walk across the way, and there'd be another apartment. The doors are just wide open. There's people everywhere. So I like walked in, and Brett introduced himself to me and told me that I was a huge fan of my band, and that's probably honestly one of the first people that like really like complimented me, that was friendly, but also like I was about to hang out with him all night long. It's, you get the passing like, oh, you like love your band, or you did really good like at this show, but he's the first, like, I mean, he was like gushing to me, and I was kind of like, I didn't know what to do at the time. And even that night, like I sat down on his orange cab that he still has, and we talked in his room, and he was like, we should get together and jam. And this is like, and I was not going to jam in the state that I was in at that time. But I mean, shit, like it was 7 years later, he called me. I was at work, and I was like, what?
I saw you at Southwest.
Yeah, I used to work at the airport, and I couldn't talk. And he came up to me, and we were trying to talk, and I was like, man, I can't talk. Blah, blah. And then like, it had to have been like not even a year later.
Yeah, it was like, it seems to happen with a lot of people. It's like you talk about jamming with them, and then it takes 10 years to actually get the jam with them, But I think the time period for that, the context there is kind of critical for me in Bradley's story, because it's like back then, at least within the circles of people I knew, it was like you were playing like really heavy, kind of hardcore, metalcore or whatnot. Like that was that was the thing, and I was like, this isn't really my thing, and I don't want to.
I was in a grindcore band at that time,
and that band fucking slapped.
In a pop punk band, so
everybody was in their shit with that, and I didn't play in a band for like 5 years, and I was just like in my room fucking around with delay pedals pretty much. And
Brett is that meme that you see, like you're just gonna stay home and write a lo-fi EP that's never gonna get released. As Brett.
Yeah, I've probably got a lot of albums I've just forgotten about over the years, but it literally was like 5 years before I started playing in a band again, and then met Ian, and he was, I think, 18 and I was 26 or something, and we've just been playing together ever since.
Literally the night you texted me and was just like, hey, do you want to come jam sometime or whatever, was the week I had decided that I was going to drop out of college. Like that was the same
Perfect.
week. Yeah. Because I had finished my associate's degree, and I went right into trying to do my bachelor's. And I was getting super burnt out. So I finished my fall semester. It was December. and you were just like, yeah, do you want to come jam? I know you're super busy with school or whatever. And I was just like, funny you should say that, actually. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, he called me at work, and I was at the customer service table selling tickets at the airport. And he sent me an email with 6 demos, and we weren't supposed to do anything there. Like, you can't have your phone out or anything. I took that phone out and sat on that desk like this and listened to all 6 of those demos. And from that moment on, I was like, I had not played a show in 7 years. And I was like, I have to do whatever. Like, I don't care if I have to be the sweetest man in the world. Like, I'm going to be in this band. And it worked out that way because, I mean, I instantaneously became friends with Jacob and Ian. It felt like just as soon as like 2 or 3 times of being around them, and it just felt like it was meant to be, for real. Like, I don't believe in a lot of that stuff, but if anything has been meant to be in my life, it's definitely been like us coming together and doing this.
Yeah, man, that's very cool to hear. I mean, that's, you know, it's obviously very important, you know, just being surrounded by good people. The hang is a lot more important, I think, than the music you make. I mean, obviously, I think great music kind of come from you all like getting along and everything, and, you know, wanting to be together. So, but, you know, you hear all those stories of bands that just hate each other after a while, you know, and it's like that kind of thing. So,
well, this half takes care of that.
I mean, we beef, but it's, you know, it's like brotherly beef.
Yeah,
we're never mad at each other, for real.
Yeah,
I just got to the point in the band chat to where it's like we'd just be the most grueling, sinister people to each other, and then just like in 10 minutes, it's whatever.
Yeah, sure.
We have a tendency of doing that on days we have gigs. Like, I feel like we almost broke up the day of our first gig.
We did. We were in Little Mexico, and you guys were beefing hard.
Yeah.
Oh, we were probably shithoused off those dollar margaritas.
I was teaching a lesson at Guitar Center. I had to put my phone on mute, and I came out from my lessons that day, and I had like 250 text messages, and I was like, what on earth could they possibly
also for context
be talking about?
this restaurant is gone. It's Ian, it's Tony's now, right?
It is Tony's.
Dude, this
now.
was this place, Little Mexico. We probably had every single band meeting ever in there, but they had
no exaggeration.
We thanked them on the liner notes of the record.
Yes, dead ass. And literally just got to the point we'd walk in there and be like, no, we're not fucking with this.
I recited lyrics to the waitress one night, just hammered, like started talking my lyrics of the song to her, and she just laughed at me, brought me another margarita.
That was, I would say, personal themes throughout the course of this sometimes have been not ideal, but the dollar margarita era was truly truly special.
For sure. R.I.P. Little Mexico.
Yeah, man.
I miss that.
Pour one out.
Well, I'll drink to Little Mexico.
I will.
Cheers, Little Mexico.
Cheers, Little Mexico.
Shout out.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't remember what I was gonna say, but like, I don't remember now. I don't know.
We were in the midst of talking about how it began.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking like just like the hang and stuff. I was somewhere in there. I was going to say something, but then I don't remember. It probably was really super important. So I'm sure it'll come back.
We'll come back to that later.
I mean, after all of us getting together and like the lineup being finalized, they had probably 10 or 11 instrumentals like just ready to go, and like I said, I hadn't sang in 7 years. Like I write all the time. Like I mean like literature, writing, all that. That's why I'm here. But I just remember like joining and like shitting out some lyrics really fast. And like honestly, I mean like, dude, when you're a vocalist and you're like trying out for a band, like I look at it like this. Like, I've never played an instrument in a band in my life, but like I feel like it's much more scarier to go into a room full of guys that you haven't been around like ever. Like, you know, I know them, like I have a rapport, but like I have to go in and then I have to like yell my soul at you and sing to you about, you know what I mean, about you. And like they didn't know me at the time, and like as we like progress, like obviously they know me now, but like that's a lot to like put out on the table. And like to this day it's still hard for me to like write a new song and go in and sing it, because it's like that's like coming straight from like my insides. Like right. I wish it was a guitar chord, you know what I mean, or a progression. And
I would so much rather play bass than be emotionally vulnerable any day of the week.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well put.
Yeah. Well, you guys, what was like when this was all forming, that original jam and stuff? Like, and you said you had demos already prepared, and but was like this sound that became the record like pretty close to what you had envisioned, or did it kind of evolve from there? Or
Was it?
I want to say the demos that we had by the time that they had came into the fold, Ian and I had sat in that basement and just had countless hours to sit there and jam on it. I think our demo process now is a lot better and less chaotic. I want to say almost everything we've written has came from something off the cuff.
right?
You know, like we get in the room and jam and try to capture that moment in something. And but a lot of those songs, I want to say, were pretty much what went on the record.
I just feel like that's like, initially it's like some kind of idea, like not always, but it's like it's kind of like this band and this band or something like those, like this kind of conversation, like we want to do something, like something like kind of what they do but mixed with this or whatever, and then it's like, and then ultimately becomes your own sound. But it's like so I just didn't know if like some of those conversations came into play as you were like pitching the idea of what Distant Eyes was going to be, or if it was like stuck true to those original demos. Like, hey,
I will say this. I remember getting hearing the demos and hearing them at practice, because obviously, some people could write 10 songs in one night. That's not me. Like I stew on everything, like every word, every line, every rhyme, everything's important to me. So it takes me a very long time. But I will say Brett and I had a conversation the first night, actually, after I saw Ian's metal band, Devolve. Shout out Devolve. Yeah, I saw them and stayed at Front Street, and we went out and we cruised the next morning, and I was conflicted because there's very ambient, like very spacey, like shoegazy parts of our album, but then it totally switches up and then it's heavy, and and it's heavy like not in a chugging way, like it's just like it just feels like you're falling down, and it gets very big. And I would be writing, and like I had discussed like whether or not, like, am I going to scream and sing? Am I just going to sing? Am I going to scream over everything? And I remember being in the car with Brett, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to fuck up this album, because I feel like, like I don't want to just get into this band and scream and sing and everyone think that we're just like, some like 2007 like MySpace band, which we still get compared to, but that's on you guys, not
Fair
me.
play.
Shout out MySpace.
So, but it was like that. But I'll never forget being in the car with Brett, and Brett said, just think about your voice and think about your screaming as a distortion switch. And if you absolutely have to turn it on for effect, he was like, I don't think that anybody will be mad at you doing so. And after that conversation, I never second thought anything that when it came to like dynamics or screaming, singing, like I do what feels right. And if the music calls for it, then that's what I do, instead of just being in my head like, what do people want to hear? What do they want to hear? What am I going to do? So that conversation really made it, that kind of like greased the wheels for me. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it, though. I like that you were able to do both very well. It's like a lot of times you have your clean singer and your scream singer, whatever. You have two people doing that.
It's hard, man.
Bad cop.
Right.
It's hard. It really is hard.
But yeah, I was impressed, listening and hearing you able to do both so
thanks,
well.
man.
So yeah. Well, let's talk about the record is available now, and you guys put this out in 2020,
January 24th, 2020.
And what you said, PRODOVOX?
Yep.
Yeah. And mentioning some of the heavier stuff, I wanted to start with a song that really caught my ear and I really like a lot, and that's called Pleasure to Burn. And this one gets a little more aggressive and heavier in the sound. So what comes to mind when you guys think about Pleasure to Burn? Is there
I can't say.
Yeah.
I want to say, but it's
No, I'm just kidding.
The age of 17.
There's been a long, there's been a long
Ian,
standing,
go smoke.
long standing joke in the band that's actually a Nikki Sick or Nikki Sick. I can't even think of it. Yeah, Stevie Nicks. Getting this.
The beginning of it reminds us of the Edge of 17.
Yeah.
And we do. I think even a few different times you've even introduced.
Yeah, I almost
live,
always
yeah.
introduce it as that, depending on how I feel. when we play.
I think we should just play Edge of 17
Yeah.
and just get it out of the way.
What comes to my mind when I think of that song is about the first time that I didn't get what I wanted, and I was projecting, and instead of looking at the situation and taking the other person into account as what they want and who they are, I was purely thinking about myself and the fact that I was getting attention that like I thought that I like deserved that relationship to be more than what it was. And that song is just literally me just venting about that. As you'll come to realize if you listen to the album at all, it's very outward. The album is very, very outward. I'm not looking in on myself at all. Like, it was very angry about not understanding what my life had become, because I'm from a town called Lebanon, in like a little bit like southeast of here, and I probably had like, I've had a bunch of friends over my life, but when I got out of high school, I probably had like 4 close friends. And then went to college, I had 10 friends. And then kind of cut those people off to come do this. And when I moved up here, it was just like, bam, music scene. Like, there's 70 people I've never met. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to like figure out like, who do you trust? Like, who do you hang out with? Like, who really like wants the best for you? Or who is just like, you're just the new thing, you know? And that is kind of, it's a combination between that and specific situations. But I think like, you know, it's that song brings to mind me coping with a situation that I didn't understand, thinking that everyone else was wrong in it without taking responsibility for the fact that I could have been a better person at that time. So that's what comes to my mind when I think of Pleasure to Burn.
Yeah, man. So even throughout this record, there's a lot of different, feelings and tones come to mind, and like just like, yeah. But I think personally, I respond to the more aggressive and the heavier sides of the album, like that song, and it's just something. I mean, but like, it's just you can feel it though. It's that a raw like emotion on when you're screaming and like that, and those lyrics and things, and so I think that's probably what draws me in more to those. But again, if you were doing that the whole record, again, it wouldn't have the same effect. So it's like,
I love singing.
Right.
Like there was never going to be a band without me singing.
Sure.
And it goes, I'm not going to name the person, but this goes back to me being like 16 years old and getting an AIM message from someone saying, I'll book your band if you stop singing. And I was like, I'm never going to stop singing. Like I might stop screaming one day, but I'm never going to stop singing.
Yeah.
So
I think that song's kind of important to the overall record because, I mean, that was something we talked about. Ian and I, we were like, we want to do a full length record. In the past we had, put out an EP and did a couple splits, and it was like we need to, like, whether or not it's the fiscally responsible, thing,
it wasn't.
thing to do, or whether or not it made sense as a band in 2000. And I mean, we wrote that from, I would say, 17 through 19, and then
15.
probably. Well, yeah,
2015.
I mean,
2015.
it's funny that it's easy to make a joke about the Edge of 17 with it, but I remember specifically when Ian and I were jamming on that, and that was not a particularly great time either of us were having in regards to former things and that we had been dealing with, and it was like,
She was dark and weird as it could get, and the fact that we were even in that place jamming like had a definitely like audible vibe on everything. It's very like you can almost like you can hear the embodiment of anxiety in a lot of the tunes. I feel like
another thing too that was weird about the record is we started kind of experimenting with like tones and different guitar textures and drum textures, and I started using an open tuning a lot, and that's on the whole record. And I feel like that just kind of like gives it whether or not it's a good vibe for anybody, but it has its own kind of like space, I feel, kind of sitting within that. But yeah, I mean, that song's definitely one of I think it's cool to take things that are not traditionally the ingredients for something and then make it something else, you know. So like on the guitar and that, it's like if I wanted to sit and pick out all the things I heard in it, it'd be like listing off all my favorite bands over the years.
Sure.
But it's definitely I like that's a mixture of kind of, in terms of the more aggressive side, there's a little bit of, I think at the time there's a little bit of everything that we were pulling out.
Yeah, man. Well, you got a date on the calendar so we can come out and see Distant Eyes live and jam with you to these songs. And we got September 10th at the Conservatory here in Alton, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And you guys headline? Is that it, or are you?
I think so. I think so.
And then you got Weedtuth, 86 Red, Daisy Chain, and then Ian's doing a set too, right?
Oh yeah,
Shout out to everybody.
double dipping, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, that's gonna be a fun night, and I guess is that, I don't know how, I haven't actually made it out to the Conservatory. I've been meaning to, because there's a lot of cool
Shout out
shows.
Justin.
Fantastic.
Really, yeah,
It's
shout out all the
Amy,
homies
really,
there.
all the
is cool.
homies.
Yeah.
It's great sound, great art, great drinks.
Oh yeah. Can we get tickets before, or is that cash at the door, or how's that?
Yeah, probably just
go to
do
the door.
cash
Yeah.
at the door.
All right.
Tip your bartenders out there,
Yeah.
the homies.
But yeah, so obviously you guys put us out right before the world shut down.
Yep.
And so obviously it wasn't ideal to be able to promote a record, having being able to play shows and all the other things. So you guys have been struggling with that for the last 2 years. But now that you're getting to play shows and you're getting to play these songs in front of people, what do you? Do you have is there a particular song that you notice that gets a big response, or pops more than anything else?
Willow.
Willow.
Yeah.
We usually close with Willow.
Yeah.
Willow always gets a good response to me. Pleasure to Burn, 29 Palms, dude. 29 Palms was the first single. Pleasure to Burn was the second.
Yeah.
So those two have always been kind of been staples. And then honestly, like the newer songs, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. I just think that's, obviously got to be a super cool experience finally, like, getting to, you guys got to do a little bit I'm sure before everything, as you were recording and everything else, but like obviously officially being able to promote the record at your shows and everything else, like getting to play these live in front of people, and it's probably a whole different thing now.
Yeah. I think in terms of the record and kind of what it means to us, and maybe other people as they discover it, but a lot of crazy shit happened throughout the pandemic,
right.
In general, but especially in our vicinities, in our own personal lives. And so I think the band has kind of taken many forms. I think it's been form of escapism for me from things that have been bad, and it's been something positive to focus on when things have been a little crazy.
Man, I always I always kind of looked at music that way a lot too. Like concerts are where I go to feel alive, and I escape all my bullshit from the work week and everything else.
100.
But I went to see JJ Gray and Mofro a while back. I'm a big fan of them, and JJ said something along the lines like that it's not where you go to escape, it's where you go to feel, it's where you go to feel alive and stuff. And it's like that's reality. Like the rest of the stuff's the bullshit. And it's like, and I was like, I don't know, man, that's really meant a lot. And that's how I feel. Like, I mean, it really put into perspective, and because like working the day job stuff, obviously a necessity, but when it's nice when you can go out and see your friends and jam to some tunes and make you feel. So
I think with PRODOVOX though, like going back to when I was writing lyrics to it and we were jamming to it, COVID really sucked because it was such an important thing to all four of us. Because when I walked in, Ian was like, I have this vision, like this is like what I would see like you doing, and basically it's just like it's like a portrait of like the town of what we were doing, and it hurt a lot because things just, for me at least, things gradually got worse as it was going on. And I mean, like with like drugs and alcohol, escapism, just bad things happening to me and just dealing with things the wrong way. Like PRODOVOX was a way out for me. And then when it was done, like I love recording, I love practicing, but like I feel alive when I'm playing a show. Like, right. And like, like Brett showed me a text message the other night from one of the homies in Daisy Chain that like was talking about me. He was like, he was like, Bradley doesn't say anything at all when he's off stage, and just like is like so like timid and just in the corner, and he gets on stage and loses his shit, and it's just like them like very elusive. Like I mean, but like I mean, I can't like I agree with that but like I can't explain it. But going through everything that record like brought with it, and being proud of something for the first time in a long time in my life, and then not having any control over being able to push it, like really, really hurt me personally. And things got progressively worse for me as 2020 went. And like, it's nice now because I kind of feel like I have like a get back. So every time I like go on, like I play like, I don't know if everyone says this, but like I've had bands where like I've played a show and not known it was my last show. You know what I mean? Like when I play with Dissonance, like I go on stage and I play every show like I'm going to die tomorrow. Like it's just, that's me. Like that's what I do. Like it's not always in line. It's not always perfect, but like I've said time and time again, like if you want to hear this album perfect, like buy the record or stream it, stay at home and listen to the album, because you're not going to get that album when you come see us live. Yeah. And like PRODOVOX is just, it's a big part of all of us, and it really is. Like I tried my best to encapsulate what it was like to be somebody not from here, being dropped in here, and just showing everybody what it looks like from somebody that hasn't always been here.
Those are my favorite parts of the album because I'm not from here either.
Yeah.
Like anytime you start talking about that stuff,
Yeah.
that's always the stuff that resonates with me. And I know you were sort of talking about, it's a more outwardly expressive thing than inwardly.
Well, there's always gonna be
Yeah.
tinges of me,
But, like,
in it, But
that was always my favorite part of.
I was always writing for all. I was writing for all of us because a big thing with PRODOVOX, like almost every song, Ian and I would like be out like at the bar, at the party, at a show, and we'd be smoking or drinking, whatever, talking to people, and we'd hear people say something, and we would write it down, and like there's almost 2 or 3 lines from every song that's from somebody that we know. So like collectively, like there's at least 10 people I can think of off the top of my head for sure that have said something that is something that I sang or screamed on that album. So, I mean, I took more than just like the vibe of like Alton, and I took like from the people that I was meeting, and that like I'll always be grateful for the people that were around us, that are still around us. Some of them are gone, some of them are new, but I mean, I owe a lot to the people that like our orbit and the people we orbit and the other bands in town and just like the music scene in general. Like I grabbed from a lot of different things to try and paint a picture of how I saw it, but making sure I didn't leave out certain colors like while I was doing so.
Yeah, man. Well, very cool. Well, again, you can find it streaming everywhere. You have links to purchase it in physical form on CD or tape, which I think is cool. Like I'm always a sucker for collecting physicals, so it's fun to see that you have those options. And but yeah, so check out Distant Eyes on your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you got your Bandcamp, and Big Cartel has the T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. You can get. I'll link it all up on the my website, but be sure to get plugged in with everything. But speaking of this record, also you guys just recently released a brand new music video to go along with it, and
Ian, you want to handle that?
A song called Riverbent, which is also appears on the album, and let's talk about this song and video, how this all come about.
So yeah, we it's a very image forward song, and it definitely was a song that like stuck in my head a lot, and the point in time that it seemed to be getting finished up. And it'd been quite a long time we were stitching bits and pieces together for the song, and it just came together so perfectly with just the things that were kind of playing out during that period of time. And we're able to just, it just like felt like it needed something a little bit more candid, a little bit more just like life in the day of sort of situation, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seemed like a fun thing to do, and we were just so tight on budget after putting that whole record out. And I think we were finishing out we finished that out through the pandemic, so it was just like the only thing we could do really, because it was like we spent years finishing that up, and then the pandemic happened, so all we could do was just bullshit around town and take bits and pieces of video for that.
Somehow that's the perfect song for it, though.
It really is, and like what I was just saying, like everything that I said to you about the encapsulation and painting a picture. Like, if you want to know where I was, where we were at that point in time, writing that album, Riverbend is the song that defines that. That Riverbend is the song that defines the album to me. Like that. That's what everything is about. I mean, I wrote it one day at 7:30 in the morning when Brett and I were sitting outside. It was raining. I went back into my room when I should have went to sleep and started writing the rest of the lyrics. And there's so much that I want. There's two parts of it specifically. There's a line of the second verse where I said, like I told you, I'm from the country. So like the second verse is pulled each foot from the fields, hit the banks and lost control. When talking about the river and the banks and everything, like that imagery, like every time I sing that line, like I just get weak. And then, with my own situation, like the ending of that song, Ian whispers, I burnt every bridge you can take from me, thought you drowned below, but you're too shallow. And then I go into, I was going with the flow, but I must have washed away. Because, I mean, like, I was writing that record looking at the Mississippi River every day. Like, I would be at the bar, like, at the table, like, writing and see it out the window, like, that, I mean, that song to me is PRODOVOX. Like, it, like, personally. I don't know about you guys, but.
Yeah, man.
But anyways, the video, I apologize.
Do you feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's something about river towns that, like, do inspire more, and I don't.
Let's ask Miles Davis.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, there's like, obviously you look at some of the great music cities over the years, like you can fall right up the Mississippi, and its legacy that the great blues players, left, that started, jazz and, like New Orleans and stuff, and come up the river, and like St. Louis is rich in history for music, obviously, and I just feel like there's something about river towns. I don't know.
Definitely.
But
yeah, I never thought of that.
Well,
there's like a transient nature to so many of the people who choose to live here or who live here for times in their lives, and that's like it's baked into the history of the place because it was only ever meant to be a stopping point to somewhere else,
right.
And so if that's baked into the DNA of the people, what does that say about the people who chose to stay? If their idea was to go somewhere else and probably not here or wherever else on their journey, if they get to a spot and they stop, like what does it say about that spot? What does it say about those people? And then what does that say about the generation of people that come after those people? And like that sort of ends up baked into all of these places of like just sort of an accidental sort of population nature to so many of the things, and like all of it is by chance and rather than design. Like anybody who's ever tried to walk the streets of Alton knows that it wasn't by design. But like to have that idea of like it's both a destination and a stopping point along the way to somewhere else, like baked into the idea of a place, like I think it affects the kind of people who find home here. Like it says something very specifically about the kind of person who then, knowing all that, chooses to make this place home, and like chooses not only to make this place home but to make art around the idea of that place and to adapt that into their own personal identity, right? And so like that's the thing with river, and like any, like try to, you can't disengage someone from New Orleans pride if they're from New Orleans. It's the same idea just writ large, right? Or I guess in the opposite direction, so writ small.
yeah, man.
Ian captured that really well too with I didn't mean to cut you off, but he captured that really well with the way that he recorded the video. So
what was the pizza you were eating in the video?
Oh, Lincoln.
I'm gonna bet cash money that was a cheese DiGiorno.
Yeah.
Lincoln was also a roomie of mine. He lives here too now. It's weird. We were living in the Front Street apartment, Bradley, that's referenced, and then Lincoln moved in with his girlfriend, and then they took the other apartment here, and then Ian and I took the other apartment here. So
Yeah, we were literally talking to him when you pulled up tonight.
Shout out Lincoln.
Shout out Lincoln.
I just I'm a big fan of pizza, so it caught my attention.
Oh, hell
I'm
yeah.
like, hey, but yeah,
we eat a lot of pizza.
yeah, man,
You had some pizza right before this?
yeah.
The Domino's King is right to my left.
Yeah, we're also known as the Domino's Collective. So.
Or the Oasis Boys,
Yeah.
depending on which bar we're walking into or out of.
for sure. But Ian recorded a bunch of just snippets on his phone of us around, of himself, like just filming things in Alton, like just views that mean a lot to him, and put it together. And when I listen to that song and watch that video, it just takes me immediately back to 2018.
And
Like,
the thing I love about the video too is that it's not like, I don't know, it's not as if we put the album out, it sat around for a year, and then we went, oh, we need to make a video for that now. Let's all go out and film ourselves being goofy. Like, all of the footage that's in that video is from that time period that was just randomly collected. And most of it was edited together at some point along 2020. And then we just kind of sat on it for a while because we were just kind of on the fence of like, is this even going to work? Like, if someone sees this, like, it's not, you know, like, it's not this big flashy thing. All it is an encapsulation of the lyric that you're listening to and of the people who made it and of their lives every day, which is what the song is, you know? And so there was it's not like there's any new footage that's like found and spliced into that. Like, that is very much like
Vintage.
the newest thing in there is from like the first tour of the apartment we got like over a year ago.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
which is why I'm barely in the video.
It's weird. I never thought the location would be so critical for us, but it has been. I feel like we've been really lucky as far as having practice spaces in town, and even getting the practice space here took, I would say, quite a bit of coincidence and luck.
For sure.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, if you didn't work here,
But I do.
if you did not have affiliations, but had that not been available to us, I don't know if we'd be sitting here right now having this conversation.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, you lose a practice space. I mean, it's kind of like, what do you do?
Yeah.
If I didn't exist or wasn't employed.
Right. You guys recorded everything with Alex at Lighthouse, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out.
How was that experience?
It was good.
Yeah.
I think my one thing that I've taken away from that, well, not one, I've taken a lot away from it. But we are never ever doing a record again where we recorded over like 3 years. Like that,
Yeah.
this next fucking record is gonna be like, we got a week. We're gonna be in here this amount of time,
That's
and
what
when
I
that
said,
fucking
though.
clock is done at the last day, that is it.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like
Yeah.
that is it. I think every time you go and record body of something like that, you take a lot of experience away from it. Alex, beyond being our bud, he's came a really long way. He's a great engineer. I think he did a great job on the record. I think, no matter what, that's going to be something that, has been a pivotal experience for us. When we go to do the next one, everything we learned from that, good and bad, or I shouldn't say bad, but good, and things that.
Oh, there's a lot of bad.
Well, I'll let you comment there, I guess.
I don't need to.
I will say, even though it did take much longer than it should have, it was only because we were fortunate enough to be rehearsing there and being really good friends with the guy who was running the.
That's true.
It was such a blessing
were
to
really-
be able to do that,
yes.
because if we had went in and released the first version of some of those things were recorded, because there was a few different times we went in to record those songs and would come out and we're just like, why isn't this working? What is it? How is what we're doing downstairs in this same building not translating to the floor above us?
Right.
And so there's a
Yeah.
lot of back and forth about what works for us sonically, what works for us trying to capture just the feel and the authenticity of the music that we're attempting to put out for people. And it was only because we were such good friends with the people who were doing the recording for us that we had that opportunity to go back or to analyze more than we would have otherwise had. And I don't know, there's upsides and downsides to being able to have space to analyze what you're trying to do in an artistic situation, of course, but I feel like for us it really did benefit, because otherwise it would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been authentic to who we are.
Yeah.
I don't feel like.
They definitely were looking out for us and for the final product of the record for it to be the best thing that it could be, and I think something that I struggled with initially was something that Brad commented on earlier about, if you want to see a band play a record perfectly front to back at a live show, I mean, that's not us. I mean, we went from trying to record to a click track, and it was like trying to take songs that were never ever played with a click track and then put them to a click, and that
I
just
forgot
kinda,
all about that. That was a nightmare. Oh,
yeah. And it's like, I mean, that whole process there, like we were spinning tires on it a little bit. So it's like, this doesn't work, and Bradley and Ian, we were all just sitting around kind of like, light switch, and then we went in there, I remember one of the sessions we went in there and all the guitars were direct in, the bass was direct in, and we just kind of like live tracked the drums for everything. And it was like, oh, fuck, this works. This is it.
yeah. We ended up just live tracking drums and bass at the same time.
Yeah.
In
And
one day.
Shout out Kyle Noonan.
Yeah. Shout
for
out
sure.
Kyle Noonan.
Thank you for that
sure.
idea, because you saved that fucking album.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's safe to say that we probably would have came to that conclusion without him, but we'd probably still be having debates about it instead of having the record out still. But I mean, I think some of the stuff that we pull from, like influence wise, things that we love, I mean, that's kind of the ethos behind them. It's like, like we always, reference like, oh, go watch At the Drive-In on Letterman, like that is not, it's just like a crazy, raw, going to the walls performance or something. Right. It's like, we're not gonna do that. I mean, my big ass isn't, at least, but I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna have fun with it. But that was definitely something that I think we'll try to do a little bit differently as we're writing and demoing, and just kind of more methodical about what we're doing versus then, which was a little bit chaos. So I think that was kind of the theme of what was going on.
You can hear it in the album too.
Yeah, man, absolutely. What about you guys? Obviously, you had a couple years now off. Getting you guys thinking hitting the studio again soon, or what's?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Working on the new whatever it's gonna be.
Right.
Yeah.
Been taking our time flushing out these new ones.
Sure.
After the pandemic, I feel like, honestly, speaking for all of us, after spending so many years and honestly so much money on something like that, and then not having like the instant gratification that you get from like a normal release of a piece of music, it took the fire that kind of lights under your ass away by the time we're able to get back out there. And that kind of like gave a charm to the new stuff in a way, because it was almost like a second go at writing something for the first time without the context of like it being a sophomore release in a way, because so much time had passed.
A really good way.
It really does feel like a first album again in a lot of ways.
It also is, because we're all writing it instead of just Ian and Brett like working on it by themselves. Like, it's the first effort that we're doing where all four of us have any sort of say so and like it coming to fruition.
I mean, it's kind of like changed the whole process for the better, in my opinion. I find
sure.
Creating riffs or whatnot, or throwing riffs out to everybody, it's like I'm way less inclined to like use pedals. And that sounds weird, but for other guitar players, it's like you might take a riff. It's like, oh, I wrote this with this thing. This one's, it's like, I think there was delay and just crazy effects on everything on PRODOVOX on all the tracks. And this one, I think there's only, substantial effect use on one part of one thing. So it's way more kind of stripped back and raw, and feels more vulnerable and more kind of like, big rock songs that sound like us, but, kind of less, what's the word I'm looking for, Ian?
It feels more mature. It just feels like
it sounds like us, but better.
Much more cohesive.
It really
for sure.
does.
Yeah.
Everybody that's talked to me after shows, because we played 2 of the new songs in the live set now, and I've had at least 2 or 3 people come up to me and they'd be like, "It sounds like you guys, but better." And like, if that's a compliment, I mean, that's the best compliment you can get for a sophomore effort for sure.
I mean, everything you described in the studio. I mean, like you're saying, it's a learning experience. You're always going to get bigger, faster, stronger. That's the goal. And so hopefully the next record's even better than the first.
Well, don't get us wrong. I mean, we were hammered.
Right.
I was on so much cocaine. I would show up to sessions with no lyrics, just like straight fucking off. And like what Jacob said about if Alex wasn't our homie, they would have told me to get the fuck out of the studio.
Right.
100%.
And I mean, like, you can hear all of that on the album, but like going forward, like there's a lot that I've learned about just being a respectful fucking musician. You know what I mean? Like, and taking our work serious, because like after a certain period, like I was just fucking stoked that I was in a band and I was just ready to go, like constantly. And like you use that as an excuse to do dumb shit. And that was a coping mechanism for other things that I was not handling. But like when you're in a band, it's really easy to do that. Like because that's.
I'm in a band. Do you have any songs? Trivial.
Yeah.
No, I'm in a band.
I have an 8-ball.
Exactly.
One of our, we got to give a shout out to Don and Penny's in town. Our buddy Bill there, he was talking to Bradley and I one night, and he's like, I know people listening to this won't get the visual that you will, but he was like, you guys, you don't sound like Motley Crue, but you just, like.
He just like held his hands around us and like parentheses us.
I mean, we've lived through some substantial rock and roll cliches. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it was fun and
come back to life more times than Nikki Sixx.
I mean, yeah.
And you're still better at bass.
I'm still better at bass. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. That was Jake's idea. I'm not better than Nikki Sixx. And please, everyone, calm down.
I fuck with Nikki Sixx.
Well, again, check out the full album wherever you're getting your music at, and pick up a CD or tape copy and a T-shirt, and come out to the show on September 10th at the Conservatory and have a real good time. I got a couple questions for you guys. I've been having fun driving around town asking some of these and get your guys' take on. But what's a song that always gets stuck in your head? Do you guys have something that's been on repeat today or recently?
It's funny.
Today?
Today, yeah.
Brett saw a guy on a motorcycle listening to Mirrors by Justin Timberlake and sent that to me in Snapchat, and I've been listening to that song all day.
We've been humming it since we've been hanging out at like 6. One of the two of us have been humming it under our breath.
And that's the beauty of living here. I'm just working.
It's funny
on the patio, and I'm like, there's this wild looking motherfucker on a motorcycle, just got Justin Timberlake blasting.
Yeah.
There's a good deal of like 50 yards. Like, I mean, he's got this loud, and I'm like, obviously, I'm gonna Snapchat this.
It's so funny because like I was gonna say it earlier, but like the weirdest part about us being in a band together is that none of us like any of the music the other one. We all we do is just hate on everything that the other three like.
That's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 5, call it 10 bands that we all agree are like unassailably good, and we love them completely. And then there's just and none of those bands make any sense. Like our number one band as a group is probably Oasis. Like, yeah, it's the weirdest
Mars Volta.
thing. Mars Volta, maybe.
Probably.
Like, that's
definitely
Chiodos?
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna give Chiodos that endorsement.
You wouldn't do it just because people are going to hear this.
No, that's not true.
Facts.
And then it's like, then it's just random songs from there. Zombie by the Cranberries, the Thong Song, like it's all the hits.
All of Jacket Little Pill by Alanis Morissette.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we completely deviated from your question. I apologize.
Jagged Little Pill.
What's
the Story Morning? Like those are the most important albums.
Yeah, a bunch of records that if you're like, yo, what do you like? It doesn't sound anything like Dissonance.
Yeah, nothing that sounds like anything we actually make.
I just got to see Alanis over the summer.
Hell yeah.
It was a great show.
Hell yeah.
A lot of feedback again. We've been good for since we quit talking about spirits.
The ghosts
seem
fuck
chill
with
out.
Alanis.
Yeah,
Everyone
right.
knows that.
There's something going on. I'm gonna power through this and see if we can. All right, day comes along. We have some. Dude, I don't know, man. Oh shit, that's weird. It sounds all static.
It's the static, the same static from. Oh wow.
Yeah. It's like really loud.
Played Silent Hill 1 before. This is very silent.
Okay, now we're done again. I don't know.
We can cut
I don't know
around
if
that.
it's-
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a phone or what. I don't know, but something's.
I didn't take my. No, mine's on airplane.
So was mine.
All right. Day comes along. We have some Distant Eyes action figures come out. What would you guys like to
Love
see?
this.
Yeah. What would you guys like to see as your 3 accessories to go with your action figure?
I know.
I go first.
Off tops, I want that pizza shooter thing that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
yeah.
ones had, the
Hell
little
yeah.
disc pizza thing. Like off tops, I want that. I call dibs on that.
So are we talking about like 3 for each person?
Yeah. Typically, maybe we can improvise if you.
Mine would be Amir, the Buster rifle from Wing Zero, and probably some sunglasses. So yeah, Amir, Buster rifle, and sunglasses.
I was gonna say my Ray-Bans, a miniature Bombay Sapphire bottle, and a miniature Jazzmaster.
No Baja Blast coat.
Well, maybe we could.
I mean, I'll
don't
take the
know.
Baja Blast because
it's
I got the
add-on
pizza
pack.
shooter on deck. You know,
I mean, could we advertise on the package that it's a Baja Blast with gin? That would be preferable.
Yeah, kids love that.
They do.
I think mine would probably be a pack of Camel Blue shorts. First and foremost. A really resonated bowl that like everyone's gonna tell me to clean.
Smoke anyway.
And a dented Budweiser.
Yeah.
Wait, there's no coffee in that. There's more than likely a coffee add-on pack too, but that came out later because I wasn't done brewing it yet.
Sold separately. Yeah, I don't know. Just a ridiculous thing to think about.
That's good.
It's fun. All right. What if, say there's something you guys as a band could get into the Guinness Book of World Records for? What do you think it might be?
Oh, wow. This is a dangerous question.
Most Taco Bell consumed by 4 people.
I feel comfortable with that one.
Yeah.
No, we'll just leave it at that one.
a Taco Bell and or Baja Blast record of some variety.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
How many
Dude,
times your teeth can get fixed from drinking Baja Blast all the time? We're on number 3 right now. So.
Shout out to Baja Blast.
Hell yeah.
Taco Bell.
Hell yeah.
Baja Blast.
Yeah.
How many empty rooms can you play I think we got that one on lock.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
All right. All right. So the day comes along. We have a Distant Eyes biopic. Who would you guys like to see cast to play you in the movie version? Is there any you guys?
We're going to have to bring him back from the dead, but I call John Belushi.
Absolutely. Steven Tyler
Yeah,
for
Steven
Bradley
Tyler
for
for
sure.
me.
I feel like
Doubt.
I thought you played him in his biopic.
That's good. That's a good point.
Daniel Radcliffe is definitely Jacob.
I was gonna say like 3 years ago I would have definitely said Ezra Miller, but he's Ezra's not doing so hot. Ezra's not doing so hot these days. I go Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's usually a safe bet for me. Yeah,
true.
him and I look weirdly alike actually. So that works.
You know, I was going to say Christian Bale for me. He's the Batman. but I don't know if anybody else sees that. As I see it myself.
What about Ian? What do you?
What was that guy that's in that True? What is
Yeah,
Matthew
it's-
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey,
Fucking
but from season 1 of True Detective.
Detective,
Yeah, as Rust Cole, as
Absolutely.
Ian. Yeah, it's
you
a layered role.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There we go.
You know, I don't think everybody will like our record, but if we had a biopic, people would watch that.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
100%.
Yeah.
People watch dumber rock and roll movies like that Sex Pistols movie. It would be better than the Sex Pistols movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. What about a dream duet or collaboration? Is there a certain somebody the band would? I mean, obviously, you guys said you were all over the place with your music individually, but as a band, is there certain people you think about that would be fun to bring in the fold?
I gotta say Alanis Morissette again.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
I was gonna say something tangible, like we should go do that Kurt Ballou record. But
No, let's shoot for the stars, man.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
the Great
it's
White
okay.
North.
I'm
It's a
not
dream.
thinking big enough.
My vote's on Jimmy Buffett, but
My man's trying to get free flip flops down there.
So I don't know how much it costs for a little Uzi Vert feature, but
Dave Grohl's. Maybe Dave Grohl. No, I take that back. I take that back immediately. I'm gonna say Johnny Marr on my behalf.
Yeah.
you would.
I just want to hear Alanis and you wail together. Like that's what I want to hear. The two of you singing at the same time. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Do any of you do any celebrity impressions?
I can kind of do. I can do LeFou from Beauty and the Beast. Like okay. I haven't done it in a while, so I kind of don't remember much of LeFou's dialogue. But I don't know. I don't want to blow out the mic, but like.
I don't know what girl wouldn't want you, Gaston. You're the greatest hunter in the whole wide world.
Like I kind of got that like weirdly good. I did that to the Gaston at Disney World, and he gave me the weirdest look, and then asked me how many eggs I could carry for him, like how many dozens of eggs that I could carry for him. So that was a very cringe moment in my life because I was like 27.
Disney World.
But yeah, that's what I got.
What was it? What was the question?
Impressions.
Oh, my impression is Aladdin. That's because I only steal what I can't afford, and that's everything.
I only really do a good Bradley impression. That's not.
Yeah.
I can do the give me a chicken sandwich and some waffle fries for free guy pretty well.
For free.
No, she was.
What I smell like?
Do you do any celebrity impressions? It's a very specific question to ask.
Right. No, I'm just I do really appreciate voices, like just cartoon voices, characters, and like I don't know. I feel like I can like mimic like even musical impressions. Like if I hear voices, like I feel like I can mimic them pretty well. As far as like doing impressions, like I feel like you need to be in that character and be able to create in that character. And I don't do that. I can, if I hear a line, I can feel like I can mimic it pretty well and stuff. But yeah, it's just it's fun. Voice, I don't know, just voices are interesting to me, and it's funny to, especially like I said, getting into like learning all the different cartoon voice actors and stuff from like SpongeBob and
Tom
you
King.
know, stuff like that. And you know, those guys, a lot of those guys, like a bunch of them worked on Ren and Stimpy and stuff too, or whatever. They all work on a lot of the same shows and stuff, and it's just fun to see what all those guys have done with their careers.
Watching Ren and Stimpy as an adult, and you
Questions.
realize the shit you were watching as a child.
I have questions.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
But like Patrick Warburton, you know, all the from, you know, whether it's Family Guy or you know whatever he does, you know, he's one of my favorite voices and stuff. And but I don't know, it's just something that it's funny to think about, like the different, and plus it's fun to put people on the spot like yourself to see if you'll actually do it or not, and like so.
He's been so soft spoken this whole podcast, and just fuking bust that out. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Right.
Did you guys not know I
Yeah.
could do that? No. I guess
Is it from fucking
Just
Beauty
holding
and the
out on
Beast?
him.
yeah, it doesn't come up very
Never
much. I
watched Beauty
guess.
and the Beast together?
All right. One more. What about a fictional band you would love to see live? Is there like for movies or TV or anything?
Oh.
Like is there?
This is easy.
Yeah.
Powerline from a Goofy movie.
Oh yeah.
Like you know,
I second that.
like
Yo,
Eye to
what-
eye? Are you kidding? Get
Like-
the hell out of here.
Yo, what was that band from Doug?
oh
Beats.
the Beats,
The fucking Beats.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Powerline, no cap.
Yeah. I agree.
Bussin'.
You got one, Ian?
Samurai from Cyberpunk 2077
that
with
is-
Keanu Reeves.
Yo, one time
Yeah.
Ian and I did Refused at an undercover weekend.
Here we go.
Okay. That shit they did for Cyberpunk was cooler than probably any of the fucking New Refused records. I'll go on record and say that. I love them all, but that shit went hard for a video game soundtrack.
Yeah, man.
The game fucking sucked though.
Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. I really glad we did this today, and I'm glad we were joined by some spirits potentially on this recording.
Shout out.
Yeah, but this was cool, man. I'm really, like I said, a lot of fun getting to know you all a little better, and hopefully some people will get out there and join us on September 10th and come see it live.
Thanks for coming all the way over here.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, happy to help. And again, Maeva, how you say?
Oh, Maeva's coffee.
Maeva's. Yeah, Maeva's coffee. Shout out. Come over here, beautiful Alton, Illinois, and get yourself some coffee.
Come wrap that shit out of the door and watch Ian make it all for you by himself.
Yeah,
100%.
Takes the shirt off and everything. It's
How do you know that? People say that literally. We get like 4 songs into our set. It's like, take your shirt off. It's like the highlight of our set. Is
Like,
Ian
I know
taking his
you
clothes
motherfuckers
off.
aren't talking to me.
all right. Well, thank you all, and hopefully we can do this again real soon. This was a
For
good,
sure.
Hell yeah.
good time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, everyone.
Later.
Later.